Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video in which we will look at increasing or decreasing a quantity by a given percentage. Fortunately, all it requires you to know is finding a percent of a quantity, which we've previously done. So you need to be able to do questions like this: increase $60 by 45%. So what we really want to do is take 60 and add 45% of 60 onto the total. Remember that 100% of 60 is 60. We want to take the full amount, that's what 100% means, the full amount, and add 45% onto it. So really, all we're doing is finding 145% of 60. And you know how to find the percent of a quantity. All you do is take the percent, divide by 100, because 145% and 145 over 100 are the same thing, and then we times by the quantity. So if you put that on your calculator, you get 87. So what we've done is take 60, we've added another 27 to the total, because 27 is 45% of 60. But see how easy that was. When you're increasing by a given percent, you can just add that percent to 100% and find a percent of a quantity. So for example, you want to increase something by 20%, that's the same as finding 120% of the total. If you want to increase something by 105%, that's the same as finding 205% of the total. Now, if you want to discount 250 by 8%, what we're doing is we're taking the full amount, which is 100% of 250, and we're subtracting 8% of it, 8% of 250. So if you take 8% of something, you have 92% left. So if I want to discount or decrease a number by 8%, what I'm doing is finding 92% of the original amount, in this case 250. Well, that's good because we know how to find a percent of a quantity. We just write the percent over 100, because 92% and 92 over 100 are the same thing, and then we times by the quantity and we get $230. So if you want to decrease a number by 8%, you're finding 92% of the number. If you have an item that's discounted by 30%, you're only paying 70% of the total. So there is a quick way to do it. If you want to increase a quantity by R%, you can multiply by 1, which is 100%, plus R over 100. So what we're doing when we increase by R%, we're just adding that percent to 100% and multiplying by that number. Of course, remember to go from a percent to a fraction, you divide by 100. So similarly, if we want to decrease a quantity by R%, what we're doing is we're taking 100%. Remember, 100% as a decimal is just 1.0. And what we're doing is we're subtracting the percent from 100%. So these formula look very similar. In both cases, you multiply, but if you're increasing, it's 1 plus R over 100. If you're decreasing, it's 1 minus R over 100. So let's use this quick way in this question. Tie normally costs $55, discounted by 22%. What will it now cost? So what we do is we take the amount, so 55, the amount by which we want to decrease, and then here I'm going to times it by 1. Now, because I'm discounting, I'm decreasing. It's a minus, and the percentage is written over 100. Because this is just saying 55 times, so 1 minus 22 over 100 is 78 over 100. If we discount the price by 22%, I'm only paying 78% of it. And if we put that in our calculator, we get $42.90. So this way is a bit quicker. Let's try and use this because this will be very important in subsequent years in maths. All right, let's now look at an example where we're finding the original amount. So remember that if you're trying to find the original amount, you divide instead of multiplying. So let's look at this question. A pair of sunglasses is discounted by 20%. It now costs $144. What was the price before the discount? So remember, what we're doing here is we're saying we started with the original price, whatever that is. We subtracted 20% of the original price and we got $144. Now remember, if you want to discount something by 20%, from the previous slide, we know that that is the same as multiplying by 1 minus 20 over 100. 1 minus 20 over 100 is 80 over 100. So if you discount something by 20%, you're only paying 80% of the total. So if I want this by itself, if you have a number that's had something done to it, you can find that number by undoing what's been done to it. So instead of timesing by 80%, timesing by 1 minus 20 over 100, it's just going to be 144 divided by this 80%. 144 divided by 1 minus 20 over 100. Now you can put that in your calculator exactly as you see it, and it will give you an answer of 180. So what does that mean? It means if I take 180 and discount or decrease 180 by 20%, I get $144. So let's do this one a little bit quicker. All we need to do is take the quantity and divide by the percentage increase or decrease. So let's say a pizza shop places a markup of 250% on their pizzas. They sell each pizza for $10.50. What's the cost price? So you might not be able to do this in your head, which is fine, but let's have an idea of what the answer should be. This was the selling price after a markup. So our answer needs to be quite a bit less than $10.50. If we got something more than $10.50, we know we've done something wrong. So how am I going to do this quickly? I'm just going to take the final amount. Now, when I place a markup, I'm increasing. When you increase something by 250%, remember you times by 1 plus 250 over 100. 1 plus percentage over 100. So if I wanted to increase 1050 by 250%, I would times by this. But because I'm finding the original amount, instead of timesing, I divide. Here we're saying, what number did I start with? What was the original number? When I increased it by 250%, I got this final answer of $10.50. That's why we're dividing, because we're finding the original amount. So you can put it in your calculator exactly as you see it there, and you get $3.50. So that means that each pizza cost them $3.50 to make. Then they placed a 250% markup on them and sold for $10.50. If you increase $3.50 by 250%, you end up with $10.50. All right, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.